Hello and welcome to another episode of Nightly Scroll. I'm Hayley Caronia. It is one of those weeks. I just had to ask what day is it, and it's only Tuesday night. But thank you for being here and spending your Tuesday night with me. It is 6 p.m. Eastern Time. It is Nightly Scroll time. I'm very, very excited. I've got a big show for you, but I want to remind you to subscribe on the Bongino Report channel on Rumble, rumble.com/Hayley to watch the show live with all of my homies in the chat. It's the best way to do it. Of course, you can catch up whenever you would like on Rumble. Or Tampon Tim Walz is trying to figure out why he lost still. We'll get into all of that and so much more. This is the second would-be assassin. He was the one who met Donald Trump while he was golfing at Trump International Golf Club in West Palm Beach on September 15th. He was arrested after Secret Service saw his gun. They spotted the muzzle of his SKS semi-automatic rifle sticking out through the bushes. At that point, he dropped his rifle and fled in a car before he could ever shoot, thank goodness. He left behind the firearm. He left behind 2 backpacks and a GoPro camera. Now, there's more details that have come to light today in a court filing that was actually released yesterday. Ryan Wesley Routh tried to buy a rocket launcher from Ukraine. This was just weeks before the assassination attempt. So tried to buy a rocket launcher from Ukraine. So get this. This has all come out now in the court filings. This guy is 58 years old. He's obsessed with Ukraine. And he tried to purchase military weapons from someone who he believed had access to them in Ukraine. So this is all very bizarre. He was communicating with this person via a end-to-end encrypted messaging app, something like a Signal or a WhatsApp. I'm not sure which one. It wasn't in the report. But he's texting back and forth with this guy who he thinks can give him a RPG rocket-propelled grenade or Stinger. This is in the text message that he sent exactly. He said, and I'll see what I can do. Trump is not good for Ukraine. He went on to say, I need equipment so that Trump cannot get elected. So this guy, he did not want Trump to get elected. He wanted to kill Trump to ensure that outcome. Thankfully, that did not happen. Thankfully, the Secret Service were on the ball this time, and they caught the guy, and he was arrested before anything bad could happen. Thankfully, he didn't take a shot that didn't hit Trump or anyone else. And at one point in this whole communication, Ryan Routh allegedly acknowledged that he couldn't just go and buy the weapons that he so desired for this mission. He said going to the local store for such an item is impossible. However, you are at war, so those items lost and destroyed daily, one missing would not be noticed. He's talking to someone who he thinks is in the military or has access to Ukraine's military weapons. Obviously, severely mentally unstable. There's nothing normal about what this man is asking for. He is totally deranged. And I don't know really what he was looking for. I don't know why he thought Ukraine was the answer to this problem. He had said in these messages that he went back and forth that Trump was bad for Ukraine. I'm assuming that's because Trump didn't want to give more money to Ukraine. And we were hemorrhaging money to Ukraine, by the way, all at the expense of the American taxpayer. But Congress did approve $178 billion in funding to Ukraine. Some of that was missing, by the way, if you remember that report. So I don't even know if the $178 billion actually got to Ukraine, but that was what Congress had approved. Thanks. But I don't really know what he wanted I mean, obviously he didn't want Trump to become elected, but I mean, we've given so much to Ukraine as it is. I don't know, what did he think was going to happen if Trump wasn't elected, or if he did, God forbid, take out Trump? I mean, what happens now? Then Biden's in office. Sorry, no, not Biden. Harris is in office, and she can write unlimited checks to Ukraine. I mean, what does that do for this guy? Again, nothing makes sense. I'm trying to make sense of, obviously, the mind and the inner workings of the mind of a deranged killer. So I don't know if I'll ever get to the bottom of these questions, but what more did he want? We had already sent so much, thanks to the American taxpayer. What more could we possibly... There's no outcome in which Ukraine is successful and takes down Putin and Russia. So at some point, we have to be realistic about how much support we do give Ukraine, because we can't fund endless wars forever and ever and ever. It's not sustainable. And the war's not sustainable. I mean, Trump has even said in that infamous Oval Office spat between President Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance and the President Zelensky, we can't keep... I mean, there's lives that are being lost. It's so tragic. We want this to end. But funding this forever doesn't end it. So what Trump is really wanting is to bring some common sense to the situation. So that's all on that. Some good news, though, is the Supreme Court did not side with that crazy leftist activist judge Boasberg. The Supreme Court granted Trump's request to lift that stay, halting Venezuelan deportations. So the deportations can continue using the Alien Enemies Act. The migrants had actually improperly challenged their deportations in Washington, D.C. The Supreme Court justices, they had determined that the migrants should have raised their concerns in Texas, where they were. So an interesting little caveat there. That was their reasoning. Amy Coney Barrett, she did not side with the conservative justices. This was a 4-3. Amy Coney Barrett sided with the liberal justices on this. She was siding with the crazy activist judge. She did not think that the Trump administration should be able to use the Alien Enemies Act to deport violent Venezuelan gang members to El Salvador using this Alien Enemies Act. So, I don't know.
Is she the worst Supreme Court justice ever?
I don't know what's going on with her. I was reading, like, there were other things that she sided on liberals with. It just seems like after the whole Roe versus Wade thing, I mean, things just kind of like went down south with her. I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to know. Like, I don't know what's going on with her. But it's good news for us. And Pam Bondi, Attorney General of the United States, she posted this on X. The Supreme Court sides with the Trump administration on the Alien Enemies Act. Tonight's decision, this was last night, right after we got off air. Tonight's decision is a landmark victory for the rule of law. An activist judge in Washington, D.C. does not have the jurisdiction to seize control over President Trump's authority to conduct foreign policy and keep the American people safe. The Justice Department will continue fighting in court to make America safe again. Wow. And that's not all that the Trump administration is doing. So back in February, and I reported on this as well, but the Trump administration was doing everything that they could to use those apps that the Biden administration put on all the free phones of the migrants, the CBP One app, now it's the CBP Home app, which is funny because now the Trump administration wants to send them home. Bye, go home to mommy, as Trump says. So the Trump administration wanted to use these apps to have the migrants self-deport. And they warned back in February that all illegal immigrants over the age of 14, they had to register with the United States government. Anyone under the age of 14 would have to be registered by their parents. They would also all have to be fingerprinted. So then they'll be fingerprinted. There's going to be evidence of their existence in the United States. It's going to be on the books that they are here illegally. And they have to have this documentation that they're undocumented on them at all times. The government would then give, once they were fingerprinted in the system. They would have something that said, like, I'm here illegally, basically. So those who did not comply with this, there was like a 30-day warranted for this. And if they extended the 30 days and they didn't get this done, there would be criminal penalties for this, misdemeanor prosecution and fines. Those fines would be up to $5,000 and 6 months in prison. Well, now the Trump administration is upping the ante a little bit. So the fine, they're actually using a law from back in 1996 that was enforced for the first time when Trump was in office during his first term. So that was in 2018. The Trump administration is planning to revive this because President Biden stopped enforcing that 1996 law. Of course, Trump brought it back. Biden had to cancel it. Then, now Trump is bringing it back. But Biden wanted to stop fining migrants. Now we're bringing it back. So the Trump administration plans to apply these penalties retroactively for up to 5 years. So the fine could have been up to $5,000. Now it could be up to $1 million. So these migrants quite literally can't afford to not self-deport. So if you didn't do it yet, you might as well do it now. You could owe the United States government $1 million. So it would behoove you to use this CBP Home app and send yourself packing because it's not going to be good for you. The Trump administration is not playing around. And the issue of immigration came up because Governor Tim Walz, he joined CNN's Jake Tapper on Sunday. And Jake Tapper asked Tim Walz about the issue of immigration and how important it is to the American people. And maybe that was a reason why Tim Walz and Kamala Harris and the Democrats lost in a big, big way in 2024. Listen to this.
You think Democrats' problem was that you just didn't do a good enough job explaining the policies and not that voters simply didn't just reject what you were selling, particularly on immigration, I wonder?
No, on immigration, what we were asking for is a bipartisan policy that strengthens immigration control, that recognizes that we need a workforce here, that they should be allowed here legally, and that when they get here, they're part of the American fabric. And that is the bipartisan bill we had. Donald Trump snatching up college grad students and sending them back or sending folks to El Salvador illegally, that's not the policy. But for us to say, we don't care that violent criminals come in, we most certainly do. What we were asking for is the resources to make sure they don't get here.
I'm speechless. What do you mean? That was Governor Tim Walz on live national television saying that the Democrats care about the issue of illegal immigration. They wanted a bipartisan bill that, they were just desperately searching for the resources to enforce the border. They desperately wanted to secure the border. Republicans weren't giving them the resources. That's it. Something tells me that's revisionist history, Tim Walz. Tampon Tim in the corner of the screen here. Yeah. It's crazy. I don't understand. I mean, the Biden administration rolled back almost every Trump border policy that there was, that he put in place. Biden comes into office, throws everything out with the bathwater, and the migrant crisis got worse and worse and worse. Then Biden started to kind of secretly roll back some of those Trump-era policies because it got so bad. But you're expecting me to believe that Governor Tim Walz and Democrats, they really cared about securing the border? Absolutely not. Because the border policy is now so ingrained with Trump and Trump's policy and the whole build the wall and everything. I mean, securing the border is so inherently Trump. They can't be publicly for it. Their TDS would get in the way. They can't support closing the border. That would make him, a Trump ally. That would make him. So of course they didn't do that. But, they're just lying. But here's some good news on the border. Border crossings are down 99.9995%. Yeah. That's a lot. That's a lot. So, Tim Walz is saying, we were just desperately trying to work with Republicans to find a way to secure the border. We were trying to find the resources. Well, border czar Tom Homan sure as hell found the resources, didn't he? The Trump administration has unleashed the border czar to actually do his job, not just say that we're doing the job and trying to find the root cause of migration. No, they're actually doing what they said that they were going to do. So Tom Homan released these numbers last week. The amount of illegal aliens released into the United States in the first 2 months of President Biden's term was 184,241. Now, take that same span, January 20th to April 1st, under President Trump. How many? I'll let you all guess in the chat. Maybe you've heard these numbers already, but how many illegal aliens have gotten across the border under Trump in the last 2 months? To put it into perspective, we have 184,241 under Biden. And now, how many under Trump? Someone's guessing 4, 5, 1,000, 500, 0? Question mark? 0 would have been really cool, but it's actually 9. And according to border czar Tom Homan, 8 of those were either material witnesses in a criminal case or they had a significant medical emergency. So I don't know how the other 1 got away. He said 8 were part of material witnesses or a criminal case, or they had a medical emergency. And then he said that there were 9. So I'd love to find out that one person. How did they get across the border with all these, a secure border? I mean, if there's a will, there's a way. But it is just shocking. He's lying about wanting a bipartisan effort on the border. Governor Tim Walz, like, what a loser. We know that you're lying. Don't lie to us. We're not stupid. I don't know if he thinks he's talking to the Democrat voting base or what it is, but we're not stupid. We know you're lying. Stop lying. But Governor Tim Walz, he's also trying to figure out how he lost the election in 2024. They're still racking their brains. They haven't figured it out. So the governor of Minnesota, he's taken himself on a trip. He's going across the country. He's having alligator soup. And he's hoping that someone will tell him, I don't know, he'll find some answers. He'll speak with the American people and figure it out. Listen to this.
Hey, everybody. In Wheeling, West Virginia at Coleman's Fish Market. I'm having their traditional fish sandwich, which I'm going to have in a minute, but they got something great on here. Alligator soup.
They said fish sandwich. That's the one I want.
Okay, the one we're known for.
The one you're known for. And then I want to try alligator soup. You have that?
Okay.
I ordered the alligator soup. It's not something you get in Minnesota.
No, it used to be turtle. And turtles become,
Let's go do it. The Mountaineers were playing the Florida Gators. They used to serve turtle soup here, but the week they played the Gators, they served alligator soup. Turtles became harder to get, so alligator soup stayed on the menu. So do an alligator soup and a fish sandwich at Coleman's Fish House in Wheeling, West Virginia. Doesn't get any better.
Well, pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you.
Thanks for saying hi.
Yeah,
Where do they get the gators from?
I'm not sure how they get that gator.
I don't know.
They said Tim Walz is over there. I said, wait a minute, you running around with Camilla? Yeah. They said, yeah, what are you doing in West Virginia?
Trying to figure out how we win next time, Dan.
What are you doing in West Virginia? Trying to figure out how to win next time, damn it. So does that mean Tim Walz is running again? Maybe are Harris and Walz going to team up again? Because I would say, please do. Please do, because whoever we have on the right is going to wipe the floor with Harris Walz. What's the opposite of a dream team? That's Harris and Walz. But I just think it's funny that, he's on this, this cross-country tour to speak to Americans and try to figure out why he didn't resonate with the American people. I mean, this guy said, is that Tim Walz? He didn't even really know. Like, was that the guy who ran with Kamala? These people can't even name him. They're not paying attention. They didn't care. They didn't care about him because they didn't have any policies. And of course, they lied to the American people. People can see right through that. But we've got a much better president in office right now. President Trump, he signed an executive order today to reinvigorate affordable, reliable, and clean coal. So here he is, flanked by coal miners, right, left, behind him. They're all surrounding him. He's shaking their hands. They look really excited. Look, they're all smiling. They're all excited because President Trump is going to unleash this industry, which is great. So Trump is going to, in this executive order, he will direct federal agencies to loosen the various restrictions on coal mining, leasing, and exports. He's going to instruct the Department of the Interior to loosen restrictions and basically unleash this industry. This is the way. This is the America First agenda that we voted for. So Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary, she posted this on X explaining a little bit more about what this executive order is going to be doing. She said affordable. The executive order is going to reinvigorate affordable, reliable, and clean coal. Coal is critical to achieving American energy and AI dominance. So again, I think during the COVID-19 pandemic, we became highly aware of how bad it was that we were reliant on so many foreign countries for whatever it was. There was, ports were shut down and flights weren't coming in. Like, people were getting really, industries were being shut down, and, American industry had been stifled for so long. We thought, wow, especially President Trump, this is really where the America First agenda took off, where it was like, hold on, why are we importing everything from China and wherever else, India and Thailand and wherever? We need to make things here, especially when we have natural resources here. We were so rich in them. Why not unleash them? We had President Biden shut down the Keystone XL pipeline on his first day in office. All of those miners and everyone who worked, those blue collar workers who worked on that. The Biden administration told them, go find some other job coding or something. Can't you find something else? They were totally fine with shutting down an industry and letting these people flounder. So, of course, all these coal miners that are surrounded by Trump today, they're smiling because they're back. Everyone feels that we are so back now that Trump is in office, and we don't have to rely on China or other countries or Russia for oil or gas or Saudi Arabia or whoever it is. We don't have to do that. We can do it all right here. This is the reason for all of these tariffs. We want to de-incentivize people from exporting or importing from other countries. We need to make everything right here at home. Unleash American businesses. That is what we voted for. That is what we wanted in President Trump. And again, he's delivering. So really, really cool America First update there. I just love to see that. And all their smiling faces. It's just great. Unfortunately, in Democrat-run New York, things are not so great. I will say I'm so glad that I don't live in New York anymore. A lot of my family is there. A lot of my friends are there. The majority of my family and friends are there. But I can't live. It's lunacy. It's lunacy what the Democrat government is doing. So New York Governor Kathy Hochul, she has called for $370 million in additional funding for gun control. And guess what? Her new plan includes credit card surveillance of ammo sales. She thinks that this gun control measure will require credit and debit card issuers to track ammunition and firearms purchases, making the streets safer. Huh? How would that? I don't understand. I have a lot of questions. Because this law gives law enforcement the opportunity This is what she says. This gives law enforcement the opportunity to find out exactly who may be stockpiling ammunition. She said, someone's stockpiling ammunition, it could be an indicator that they're planning something worse. So she thinks that this is an important data point to have. But I just have a lot of questions about how this would prevent anything. I mean, you could stockpile ammunition and not do anything wrong with it. You can stockpile ammunition because you freaking feel like it, because the Second Amendment says that you can. Or you could stockpile ammunition and do something really horrific. But having law enforcement have the ability to search this stuff, does it stop someone from stockpiling ammunition? How would they know who to investigate? Would they investigate everyone who buys ammunition and then put them on some sort of a list? I mean, I don't know how this works. Because would the credit card company have to flag a purchase like this to law enforcement for them to even be aware of the purchase? I mean, because how would they know? Or is this someone who's already on their radar? Then they can subpoena this information via the credit card company and know, okay, this person's on our list and now they've stockpiled ammunition. Let's investigate. I don't know. Otherwise, I don't know how they would know who to target unless they're targeting all Americans, all law-abiding American citizens. I don't know. Someone just says this violates the Fourth Amendment immediately. Yeah. I mean, seriously. And yeah, so someone's talking about how difficult it is to buy a gun in New York. I did not buy a gun. I don't own a gun, but I started shooting and taking classes in Nashville. I didn't even think about doing it in New York. I had a coworker who she wanted to get a firearm, but the laws, it's so crazy. Like, you can't even leave the state if you don't leave your firearm with another certified firearm owner in New York. And it's like, these are very few and far between. It's hard to find or know someone else who has a firearm to leave your firearm with in New York City. I mean, I knew maybe like one person, but I wasn't going to ask them. And, anytime you leave the state, I mean, you could go to New Jersey for lunch and back, so the laws are really crazy. The paperwork is like stacked up to here. I mean, they make it extremely difficult to own a firearm in New York City as it is. So the people who are committing crimes, it's because they probably got access to a firearm illegally anyway, and then they're going to use it illegally. I also wanted to point out that a mass shooting is characterized as killing 3 or more people. So you don't need to stockpile ammunition to commit a horrific act like that. I thought of the Nashville Covenant shooter. She killed 6 people. You don't need to stockpile ammunition for that. And let's say she was on, some kind of a list, like maybe law enforcement was looking at her, even though they weren't. But let's just say, how would they know? I mean, how do you know if a firearm or an ammunition purchase is going to be good or bad? I mean, do watch lists even do anything? I mean, seriously, how many times did you hear of a terror attack or like someone who is on the FBI watch list? It was an ISIS, a lot of the ISIS attacks were happening during Obama. I remember that vividly when I was living in New York City. It was like another ISIS person or, affiliated with ISIS. All these attacks were happening and the FBI would put out a statement like, yeah, they were on our watch list. Well, thank God. Well, thank God you did something. I'm glad you had a close eye on them. So anyway, I just think this is total lunacy and it's just an infringement of the Second Amendment. It's worse than red flag laws. It's like you're now involving credit card companies to essentially spy on you and work with law enforcement to, I don't know how this stops anyone who has the mentality that they're going to do something evil. It doesn't. Like most gun control laws, they don't do anything to stop criminals because criminals don't follow the law. Anyway, more disturbing news in another Democrat state, Colorado. The Colorado House of Representatives passed a bill that would treat child abuse. They would call it child abuse if you dead named or misgendered your child. So the Colorado House of Representatives, they got together on a Sunday to pass this evil bill. And they said that essentially the Democrats, they cited the Southern Poverty Law Center to justify excluding parental rights groups from discussion of the bill. They didn't want to consult with parental rights groups. Of course, the Democrats don't care about parental rights. They want the government to raise your children, which is highly concerning. But the bill, HB 1312, it passed with 36 votes in favor, 20 against. So that means that Republican representatives voted for it because the Colorado House of Representatives has 43 Democrats, 22 Republicans. And only 20 people voted against it, unless some Republicans weren't aware of the vote, or they did this in silence, or maybe it was on a Sunday and they called this vote knowing that some Republicans wouldn't be there on a Sunday. Makes you think. But this will head to the Senate, which has a Democrat majority. So it's already passed the House. It's on its way to the Colorado State Senate. It will likely pass because the Democrat majority is 23-12. And, of course, Governor Jared Polis, a Democrat, he supports this transgender lunacy. Yeah, so that's happening in Colorado. What does President Biden have to do with all of this? So someone at the Department of Education under President Joe Biden met with this group, the Southern Poverty Law Center, and they claimed that certain parental rights groups that fall to the right, called Moms of Liberty, they put them on a hate map. So this is why the Democrats didn't want to consult this parental rights group, because they were part of a hate map, which is they have the Ku Klux Klan on the hate map, and the Moms of Liberty are on this same hate map. So we can have the Biden administration and the Department of Education under Miguel Cardona to thank for that. I mean, how insane that you have a child who maybe they go to school and the school allows them to socially transition without your knowledge. You come home, the kid comes home from school, and the kid starts, identifying as another sex, another gender, another name. And if the parent doesn't go along with it, if the parent just says like, hey, Billy, and doesn't call Billy Sally, you can lose your child. Because dead naming and misgendering is going to be, if this passes the Senate, and if it's signed into law, dead naming and misgendering your child is child abuse. You can have your child taken from you just by calling them the name that you named them. How is this even happening in 2025? I mean, liberal states, if you are raising your children in a liberal state, if you can get up and leave. That is my advice. I don't want to live in a blue state personally anymore, which is why I packed up and I moved to Nashville, and I packed up and I moved to another red state, Florida. But I certainly would not raise children in a blue state. My friends ask me all the time, when I moved to Nashville right away, they said, is this a phase? Are you coming back? And I said, no, I can't see myself coming back. I will come back to visit, but I don't want to live in a blue state, and I do not want to raise children in a blue state. Not with this lunacy going on, not with the government wanting to raise the children in this country themselves and take the parents completely out of it. That is not a state that I want to live in. This isn't a country that I want to live in. I can't believe it's happening in this country. Really, really crazy. Now, I have another concerning update. I talked to you, maybe this was last week, about the tragic story of Austin Metcalf. He's the 17-year-old who was stabbed in the chest by another teen at a track meet in Texas. And I'm throwing this out there. I will not say the alleged killer's name. Not giving them the clout that they deserve. So from now on, I'm just going to call them the alleged killer, because this is still going on in court. But the lawyers for the boy who killed Austin Metcalf, They want his murder charge downgraded. They want his murder charge downgraded. This is all happening now because, and again, I can't confirm these details. I wasn't there. But according to reports, there was somewhat of a scuffle, an altercation between these two students, Austin Metcalf and the alleged killer, where the alleged killer was standing under the wrong awning at this track meet. And Austin Metcalf said to him, "Hey, man, you're in the wrong spot." From there, it escalated to deadly levels. I don't care what was said. I don't know why someone brought a knife to a track meet. This is why there are schools all across this country. They have metal detectors because this is happening. It's lunacy. I will not defend someone who brings a knife to a track meet and then allegedly brutally murders them in broad daylight so that Austin Metcalf could die in his twin brother's arms. But these lawyers want this murder charge downgraded. They also want his $1 million bond reduced. The lawyers are calling it excessive. Get this, and I'm not going to use their name, so I'm not saying this is an exact quote, but I'm not going to say the killer's name. But they said the alleged killer and the entire blank family are sincerely saddened that a life was lost and offer their condolences to the family of Austin Metcalf. Could you imagine being the mother and father of Austin Metcalf and reading that? I want to say things that I can't say on air. It makes me so angry. Like my blood is boiling. I could not imagine being a member of the Metcalf family and reading that BS statement. You're sincerely saddened that your son allegedly murdered mine? I mean, I'd be like, miss me with that statement. I don't need to hear anything from you. And I know the Metcalf family is, based on interviews that they've done, they have very, very strong faith. So they're probably not having the same reaction that I'm having. They seem to be much more level-headed and they're trusting in God. It's hard for me to read that and not get irate. The GoFundMe account or petition for the alleged killer has gotten over $160,000. That's more than the GoFundMe petition for Austin Metcalf, the 17-year-old who was killed. But these lawyers are going even further to essentially police or try to police speech online. They're saying that if you post anything that's misinformation, they're essentially going to send you a letter warning you. And Xavier DuRousseau is a conservative influencer. He's a podcaster. He was critical of the alleged stabber. And he wrote this on X: "Be careful calling blank evil for allegedly stabbing Austin Metcalf in the chest. I've received this public statement for saying what we are all thinking." He said, "Subpoena me. I'm very comfortable in a courtroom and my legal funding is very long." I love that he takes no you-know-what from anyone. And he then added this public statement from the American Freedmen Legal Fund. These are the lawyers representing the alleged killer. Basically saying this kind of speech, calling the alleged killer evil, is misinformation. So they're demanding a retraction. They're saying that he's a minor, so you shouldn't be calling him evil online. And to Xavier's point, try me. Like, he's not backing down, and I commend him. Yes, this is an ongoing legal battle. This is an ongoing case. But a 17-year-old is dead today. A 17-year-old went to a track meet at high school and never came home. That is horrific. Killing someone in broad daylight is horrific and evil. Now, we can let this play out in the courts. I won't get ahead of that. But calling evil and telling it like it is, when you see something evil and calling it out, why would I don't understand what the lawyers are trying to do. Bully people into making this alleged killer a sympathetic character? I don't know. And it seems to be working because the GoFundMe on that side has raised over $160,000. I mean, it's really, it has me speechless. It's a really, really crazy update. I can't believe that they're telling people online to not talk about this case and not call out evil when they see it. But this is all alleged for legal reasons. Just want to protect myself. But updates on the tariff front. President Trump just introduced new tariffs today. So China has vowed to fight to the end in this trade war. Trump threatened 50% tariffs, but he actually went even further. He threatened the 50% tariffs if China didn't withdraw their 34% tariffs that they imposed last week. So China's Commerce Ministry, they put out a statement saying the U.S. threat to escalate tariffs on China is a big mistake on top of a mistake. They said China will never accept it and they will fight till the end. So they did not withdraw those tariffs, and then Trump today hit them with 104% tariffs. So play stupid games, win stupid prizes. He said, if you don't withdraw these, I'm going to slap you with 50. He gave them until, I don't know. Yeah, this is FAFO. F around, find out. That's exactly what China needed to hear. But they're in the FO stage right now because 104% tariffs slapped on them today by President Trump. Then a reporter asked President Trump, is this the reason that the TikTok deal didn't go through? This was obviously before the 104% tariff slapped on them today. But due to this 50% tariff, is this the reason that the deal didn't go through? Here's what Trump had to say.
About TikTok, there was a report that there was about to be a deal, but China changed its mind because of the tariffs.
I'd say it was largely true. The report is that we had a deal pretty much with TikTok. Not a deal, but pretty close. And then China changed the deal because of tariffs. If I gave a little cut in tariffs, they'd approve that deal in 15 minutes, which shows you the power of tariffs, right?
President, former New Hampshire.
All right, the power of tariffs, but I need this TikTok deal to go through or else we won't have scrolling time, which comes up right now. So it's very customary for teams who win championships in their respective sports to visit the White House. And the Los Angeles Dodgers did that yesterday. Now, some of these players, I think only one player didn't show up. But back in 2018, when Mookie Betts was playing for the Red Sox, they were invited to celebrate their title. He did not go. But this time around, Mookie Betts said he would be there. So he was there. And he made all the Dodgers just crack up when he said this. He kind of took a shot at some of these California senators. So take a listen to this.
Congratulations, Brian. And others. We have a couple of senators here. I just don't particularly like them, so I won't introduce. Over the course of this amazing season, the members of this team...
I don't know what he said just there, but
I didn't think it was that big a deal, actually. Washington. Over the course of this amazing season, the members of this team gave us some of the most
It's just a funny moment there. I love when Trump laughs too. And, he makes other people laugh all the time, but I love when Trump makes other people laugh and everyone in the room was laughing and then it made him laugh. I love it. So, Yes, the LA Dodgers, they went to the White House and they presented President Trump with a jersey that said 47 on it. This is customary. Most teams do this when they're invited to the White House. But one LA Dodgers fan, she was not too pleased. Watch.
I'm crashing the fuck out because tell me, why are the Dodgers going to the White House? Take this fucking shit off. Take this fucking shit off. I can't. Benny, give me that fucking shirt. Give me your fucking shirt. Fuck Otani. Fuck Freeman. Fuck Mookie. Fuck everybody. Fuck Kike. Fuck Banda. I don't give a fuck. I'm losing it, bro. I'm losing it. Count your fucking days, Dodgers. Count your fucking days. Ah! I can't fucking breathe. I'm shaking. Shut up! Shut up!
She's back for more. Back for more ripping.
Care who is in charge. I don't care what is the fucking tradition. I don't fucking care. It's all fucking stupid and I fucking hate you guys. Count your fucking days, Dodgers. Count your fucking days.
She seems well adjusted and normal. Yeah. How do you think she would act if they lost? I mean, what does she do on a normal game? I mean, how does she act? I don't know. But she was very upset. This was when the Dodgers announced that they would be going to the White House. Here's what she had to say now that they actually went. Watch this.
Well. Today was the day. Look at how honored everybody looks. Otani looks like he just saw a movie star. Oh my God, he's so happy. Isn't he an immigrant and a DEI? Talking about DEI, look at how happy Mookie looks. And don't forget, Mookie is married to a black woman. Everybody looks so sharp and well-groomed. Look at Kike right here. This one's my favorite. Look at how proud Banda looks. And here's another one. But you know who did not go? Mr. Freeman himself. The white man on the team. You know Mr. MVP is not going to get in trouble if he doesn't go.
She's obviously race obsessed. And what is so funny to me is she called Shohei Ohtani a DEI hire. She called Mookie Betts a DEI hire. When you are one of the best on a sports team, that is the epitome of merit-based. You are there because you're good. You're not there because of the color of your skin or anything else. You have to show up, you have to perform, and because they performed at the highest level, they won the championship and went to the White House. No one was there because they were a DEI hire. Then she was like, oh, and Mookie Betts is married to a black woman. Okay, and there are black people who work in the White House. Trump has hired black and gay people and all these. Who cares? They're so obsessed with race and they're so obsessed with calling Trump racist. It's not true. But obviously, she doesn't get it. She's insane. Someone else commented on the post, as a longtime fan since the early 80s, I will stop my support for the team. I know I won't make a difference, but that was a slap in the face. Latinos are the majority of Dodgers fans. Disappointing. So I guess Latinos are not supporting the Dodgers anymore because the Dodgers went to the White House and the White House is deporting illegal immigrants. Make it make sense. And I do want to point out that the woman who totally crashed out on the internet, crying and cursing and ripping her shirt and ripping the jersey off of her dog, by the way. I hope that the dog's okay. She ripped that thing off really quick. That was the first thing when I saw that. I was like, whoa. She has already given the Dodgers a lot of money. So ripping your shirt, it actually doesn't hurt the Dodgers one bit. Anyway, yeah, look at this. Like, that is not how you treat your dog. I don't care if you're making a TikTok and you think it's funny, you think it's cute. Totally deranged. But we knew that. Now, liberals are deranged. They also are potentially losing their Adam's apples. Watch this.
Guys, I'm scared. I'm beyond scared straight. Has anyone noticed how men don't have Adam's apples anymore? The Adam is not appling. okay? Men do not have Adam's apples anymore. It's the damn hormones in this damn food. Okay, it's shaved it the fuck down. Our parents' generation, Gen X, they got the Adam's apple. My daddy's Adam's apple be sticking out. These newer age men, where's the Adam's apple, babe? Your neck looks like mine. It's not giving masculine.
Michael and Justin said that they were cutting this video and they checked their Adam's apples to make sure that they were there. Listen, I have noticed this. I mean, I wasn't aware of it until I saw this video, but like, where did the Adam's apples go? Testosterone levels are down among men. It's an absurd level. It's really, really concerning. And testosterone levels are up in certain women. It's like we're swapping. It's really, really bizarre. And I do think that both of these, there's a lot of women who have increased testosterone. They have issues like PCOS and other hormonal issues. The Adam's apples might be going away. I don't know why, but I'm assuming it's because we are surrounded by hormone disruptors at all times. We have to be it has to be the hormone disruptors. It's in our food. We're ingesting microplastics. We're microwaving food. We're drinking out of plastic water bottles. And everything that we put on our bodies and our skin, perfumes, it goes on your skin. The epidermis is the largest organ in the body. Whatever you put on your skin, it seeps into your body, into your bloodstream. I mean, think about all the damaging chemicals that are in our bodies. It could drive you insane if you start thinking about it. Like, you can start making these changes to be healthier and have organic food and, stop using perfume and you start using, natural oils, essential oils or what have you. But it's like, you can make these changes and it's still not enough because we are surrounded by stuff that is killing us and turning us into women, apparently. So here's what some of the people in the comments said. They finally swallowed all them lies. Maybe that's where the lies of men are stored, in the Adam apple. I don't know. Someone else said, finding a man with a deep voice is like striking gold. Someone said they don't even have rough hands anymore. Guys, they're not even working hard. They're not building things. Men used to go to war. Men used to build cathedrals. They don't do this anymore. Now they're scrolling on TikTok. Someone else said testosterone levels have dropped around 50% since the 1950s. Watched a documentary on it due to junk food and hormone chemicals from the pill in tap water. I did read, I don't know if that's true or not. I would have to go back and check. But apparently, because all these women are on birth control pills, then it's like cycled through the toilet water and into the tap water and however it happens, but maybe that's a reason for it. I don't know. Someone else commented, Adam is gone and now we're all Eve. So I don't know. Maybe you don't even have to transition. You're just turning into a woman regardless. Scary world that we're living in. It's also scary that egg prices are up. And this person got quite the scare in the grocery store. Well, not a scare. I mean, they were quite surprised to see eggs at such a low price, but they were fooled. Watch.
Walmart, you're damn wrong for that shit. Oh my God.
Here's a stack of cartons for $1.99.
I was ready to
I didn't think about that. If you're listening to the show and not watching, there was a massive, massive wall of egg cartons for $1.99 at Walmart, but they were confetti eggs for Easter. Like an Easter decoration, not the eggs that you eat. He was like, I was about to grab all those eggs, but they were not eggs to eat. That is wrong, Walmart. That is wrong. That's not a joke that you can play on us in these days. Prices are high. Rent is too damn high. Price of eggs is too damn high. You can't be playing with us like that. And finally, so yesterday I played the video, really, really, really heartwarming video of Gordy. He was a 100-year-old veteran. He fought at Iwo Jima, and he was highlighted by the staff on the airline that he was on. He was flying. He was sitting in, one of the first rows, and they honored Gordy. He was 100 years old, and he was a veteran, and it was a really, really wonderful tribute to his service. And then I was scrolling on TikTok and I saw part of an honor flight. So an honor flight is when the Honor Flight Network will pay to send veterans to Washington, D.C., and then they get to see the memorials that are for the wars that they fought in. It's a really, really sweet thing. So here's a video from Orlando Airport. The video says, "This is what America looks like." On April 5th, around 9:30 p.m., they honored all of these veterans coming off of this flight. They said there was unity, no hate, no division. Everyone just standing around clapping for all of these veterans coming off the plane. They're all in wheelchairs. They all have got smiles. They're waving. Oh, this one tipping his cap. How wonderful is this? How wonderful is this? I just had to add to the really nice video that I ended the show on yesterday. Here's an update of that honor flight. That would be really, really cool to witness and to be able to thank all of them in person for their service. Just really, really wonderful. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for being in the live chat. I love chatting with all of you and seeing what you're saying. I love to get you involved in the show. Make sure that you are subscribed, rumble.com/Hayley. Subscribe to the Bongino Report channel. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. You can follow me on social media in the meantime at Hayley Caronia on all platforms, and I'll see you tomorrow.